Let me tell you something that changed my life. I didn't become a millionaire by luck. I didn't stumble into it. And I didn't get there by doing what most people do. I got there by learning 5 lessons. Simple, yes. Easy, no. But powerful enough to take an ordinary man with ordinary beginnings and build an extraordinary life. Now here's the truth. If you don't like where you are, you're not a tree. You can change it. And if you want to change your life, really change it. You don't need 10 things. You don't need 50. You need a few good ideas, followed by a lot of action. And that's what I'm going to give you in this video. 5 ideas, 5 principles, 5 lessons that made me a millionaire. You can write them down, you can talk about them, or if you're really serious, you can start living them. Because if you're tired of excuses, if you're tired of just surviving, then what you need is wisdom that works. And that's exactly what you're about to hear. So get your notes ready, get your heart ready, because this might just be the message that restarts your life. Let's begin. Value makes the difference, not time. Let me start with a powerful idea that shifted everything in my life. You don't get paid for time, you get paid for the value you bring to time. I'll say that again, not just because it sounds good, but because it's true. You don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you deliver in that hour. Now this, my friend, is where the game changes. I used to think the secret to success was working longer hours. More sweat, more hustle, more exhaustion. But then I met a mentor who told me, Jim, it's not the hours you put in, it's what you put into the hours. And that stopped me cold, because I realized I had been focused on the wrong thing. I thought if I just worked hard enough, I'd earn more. But the marketplace doesn't reward effort, it rewards value. Let me put it to you straight. Effort is admirable, but effort alone won't make you rich. Value will. Imagine 2 people. One earns $10 an hour, the other earns 100. They both work 8 hours a day. They both put in time. So what's the difference? It's not their clock. It's not their background. It's their value. One has developed a skill, a mindset, a solution that the world finds more valuable, and the world is willing to pay for it. The lesson here is simple. If you want to earn more, you have to become more. Not more tired, not more frustrated, not more overworked, more valuable. Now let me share a hard truth. The marketplace doesn't care about your bills. It doesn't care that you're struggling. It doesn't hand out raises because you're a good person. It rewards value. It measures what you bring. And if you don't like your income, don't blame the economy. Look in the mirror and ask, what can I do to increase my value? That question changed my life because it put me back in control. No more waiting, no more wishing, just learning, growing, becoming. Let me give you an example. Early in my career, I was barely getting by. I was showing up. I was doing the work, but I wasn't getting ahead. Then I picked up a book, and it opened my eyes. I realized I was relying on effort, not excellence. So I made a decision. Every day, I would invest in me. I would read, study, practice. I would become more skilled, more insightful, more useful, and slowly things started to change. People listened more. Opportunities came more often. Income increased. Why? Because I was now bringing more value to the marketplace. And the marketplace never lies. Let's be clear. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be born with talent. But you do have to grow. You have to learn something people want to pay for. You have to solve real problems. You have to become so good that people seek you out. And the good news is this. It's possible for anyone. You can go from minimum wage to maximum impact. But you have to stop asking, how much will they pay me? And start asking, what can I become that is worth more? That's the mindset that moves you forward. Now here are 5 things you can do this week to raise your value. First, read 1 good book in your field. Knowledge adds value. Second, learn how to solve a problem that's common but costly. Solutions are valuable. Third, find someone who's doing what you want to do and observe them. Study their habits. Fourth, practice every day. Skill without consistency fades. Excellence requires repetition. Fifth, teach someone else. When you explain it, you learn it twice, and it sticks deeper. Remember, you don't build value in a day, you build it daily. Let me close this chapter with a simple thought. Don't wish for better pay, wish to become a better person. Don't wish for an easier path, wish for stronger skills. Don't wish it were different. Decide to be different, because when you grow, everything grows with you. Your income, your influence, your confidence, your future. And it all begins when you stop trading time and start increasing your value. Let's keep going. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. There's a saying I became known for, and it still rings true today. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Now let me tell you why that matters. A living is important. It keeps the lights on. It puts food on the table. But a living won't change the world. A living won't buy you freedom. A living won't build your dreams. That's why you can't stop with what the school taught you. You've got to go beyond it. You've got to take control of your own education. And never give it back. I went to school. I sat in the rows. I passed the tests. I earned the certificate. But I also found out that a diploma doesn't guarantee wealth. It doesn't guarantee wisdom. And it certainly doesn't guarantee success. Because here's the truth. What you learn after school, that's what determines how far you go. Most people stop learning when the classes end. And that's the tragedy. Because that's when the real learning begins. You see, formal education is a system. It teaches you what to think. It gives you a structure, a foundation. And there's value in that, absolutely. But self-education is where you learn how to think, how to adapt, how to grow, how to solve, how to create. It's the kind of education that never ends. It happens in the morning when you read. It happens in the evening when you reflect. It happens in conversations, in quiet time, in personal study. It's the education that's fueled by curiosity, not curriculum. Here's a secret about wealthy people. They never stop learning. You walk into their house, you'll see books, not trophies. You talk to them. They ask more questions than they answer. They study people. They study business. They study themselves. Because they know, the more you learn, the more you earn. And the most successful among them, they don't wait to be taught. They go looking. They seek. They search. They study to succeed. When I was broke, the first thing I changed wasn't my job. It was my education, my personal education. I started reading, not fiction, not fluff. Books that challenged me. Books that taught me how to think differently. I read Think and Grow Rich. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I listened to audios. I went to seminars. I sat in the back, notebook open, heart open. I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but I was willing to become the most teachable. That decision changed my income, my thinking, my entire life. Now let me give you a simple truth. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with knowledge, not magic, not luck, not wishes, knowledge. And that knowledge is out there, in books, in mentors, in practice, in experience. You just have to reach for it. You have to become the kind of person who hunts for wisdom like most people hunt for sales. Because self-education, it's not just a tool, it's a habit. And the people who build that habit, they build wealth. Not just money, mental wealth. They don't get fazed when things go wrong. They know how to think, how to adapt, how to stay calm in the storm, because they've been preparing for years, in quiet, daily practice. Now you might ask, Jim, where do I start? Start with books that stretch your thinking. Start with one idea a day and test it. Try it. Reflect on it. Start with mentors, with podcasts, with people who are where you want to be. And most of all, start today. Because the day you take full responsibility for your own education, that's the day you begin to create your fortune. Here's what I learned. School teaches you to follow a path, but self-education teaches you to build your own. School gives you a certificate, but self-education gives you options. School tells you, here's the answer. Self-education teaches you how to ask better questions. And in a world that's changing faster than ever, the ones who learn fastest lead. Let me give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, set aside just 30 minutes a day to grow your mind. Not with television, not with gossip, but with wisdom, with truth, with challenge. Pick up a classic, study someone successful, write your thoughts down, discuss them with others, and watch what happens to your thinking, to your confidence, to your vision. Because once your mind expands, your life will follow. In closing, let me remind you, don't rely on the education someone gave you. Invest in the education you give yourself. Because that is the kind of learning that leads to wealth. That is the kind of learning that unlocks doors. That is the kind of learning that no recession, no boss, no economy can take away from you. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. The choice is yours. Let's move on. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If there's one lesson I wish I had learned earlier in life, it's this: work harder on yourself than you do on your job. It sounds simple, but it has the power to change everything. Your income, your confidence, your relationships, your future. You see, most people spend all their time trying to improve their job performance, but they spend very little time improving themselves. And that's where the real opportunity is. Because when you grow, everything you touch grows with you. When I was just starting out, I was working for a company. I was doing what they asked. I showed up. I put in the hours. I followed instructions, but I wasn't going anywhere. One day my mentor sat me down and said, "Jim, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting." Then he added something I'll never forget. "You want to have more, you have to become more." That hit me, because I realized I had been trying to change my circumstances without changing me. And that doesn't work. You can't change your income without changing your mindset. You can't change your results without changing your habits. You can't live a better life without becoming a better version of yourself. So I asked him, "Where do I start?" He said, "Start with you. Work harder on yourself." That was a turning point. I began to read more. I started listening to audio programs, going to seminars, writing in journals. I woke up earlier. I stayed up later. I stopped wasting time and started investing it in me. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to grow. And over time, people noticed. I didn't have to beg for opportunity. It started showing up. I didn't have to chase success. It started chasing me. Why? Because the person I was becoming was more attractive to opportunity. Let me tell you the truth about jobs. Your job will make you a living. Your personal growth will make you a fortune. Your job will give you stability. Your personal development will give you freedom. If you only grow as far as your job needs you to grow, then you'll only earn what your job is willing to pay. But if you grow beyond your job, you'll soon find yourself rising above it, in income, in influence, and in value. So the most important work you'll ever do is not in the office. It's not in the factory. It's not in the company. It's in you. Now here's something practical you can apply right away. Every day, ask yourself these 3 questions. What did I learn today that made me better than I was yesterday? What did I practice today that sharpened my skills? What did I do today that moved me closer to my goals? If you can answer those 3 questions every day, you're on the right track. Because growth isn't something that happens by accident. It's something you commit to, with intention and discipline. You may be asking, "Jim, what if my job is stressful? What if it takes all my energy?" I understand. I've been there. But that's all the more reason to work on you. Because when you grow stronger, stress feels lighter. When you get clearer, confusion fades. When you become better, life becomes easier. The solution is not to work more hours. The solution is to become a person who can get more done in fewer hours. Because you've become more capable, more focused, more intentional. And that only happens when you invest in personal development. So how do you work harder on yourself? Let me give you a few suggestions that made a world of difference for me. Start reading at least 1 book a month that challenges you. Start journaling your thoughts, goals, and lessons every evening. Start listening to mentors, even if it's through audio. Start practicing your skills daily, whether it's speaking, writing, planning, leading. Start reflecting, not just running through your day, but learning from it. And most importantly, start doing the hard things that make you better, even when no one is watching. Because growth isn't public. Growth is personal. And those private victories, they lead to public success. Here's something to remember. You don't get paid for how hard you work. You get paid for the value you bring to the work. And the value you bring will always reflect the value you've built inside yourself. So if you want to increase your worth, increase your wisdom. If you want to increase your impact, increase your insight. If you want to change your income, change your inner world. Let me close with this. Don't just build a career, build yourself. Don't just look for the next raise, look for the next level within you. Because if you become the kind of person that opportunity can't ignore, success will have no choice but to find you. And it all starts with this commitment. From this day forward, I will work harder on myself than I do on my job. Let's keep going. Profits are better than wages. Let me give you one of the most liberating ideas I ever heard in my life. Wages will make you a living, but profits can make you a fortune. Now don't get me wrong. Wages are good. Wages pay the bills. Wages keep the lights on. Wages put food on the table. But listen to me carefully. Wages are limited. They're controlled by somebody else. Set by a company. Decided by a manager. And most of the time they're based on time, not potential. But profits, now that's where life gets interesting. Profits come from what you build. Profits come from what you own. Profits come from value that works for you, even when you're not working. It's the difference between trading hours and creating systems. It's the shift from earning a paycheck to earning possibilities. And once I saw that difference, I never looked at money the same way again. When I was young, I worked for a wage. I got up early. I stayed late. I worked hard. But every week, it was the same story. I worked 40 hours and got paid for 40 hours. Even if I worked smarter, even if I solved more problems, even if I brought in more results. Why? Because wages are fixed. And I realized if I stayed in that system, I would never be free. That's when I discovered entrepreneurship. That's when I discovered sales. That's when I learned the power of building something that could grow without me constantly pushing it forward. That's when I stepped into the world of profits. Now let me be clear. Profits aren't just for business owners. Profits are for thinkers, for builders, for creators. You can sell a product. You can sell a course. You can offer a service. You can build a small team, create something digital, publish something valuable. You can leverage time, tools, talent, and turn knowledge into income. Because when you make a profit, you own the upside. There's no cap, no ceiling, no one telling you what you're worth. And best of all, profits allow you to multiply your results. Let's say you write a book. You write it once. Now imagine it sells for years. While you sleep, while you vacation, while you live. That's profit. Let's say you build a course. You teach it once. Now imagine thousands of people buying it, without you needing to show up again and again. That's profit. Or maybe you start a small business. You build a system. You train a team, and eventually the business works without you. That's profit. Here's the lesson. Wages come from what you do. Profits come from what you build. And if you want financial freedom, you can't only think like an employee, you must begin thinking like a creator of value. You must shift your mindset from income to assets, from time to leverage, from survival to scalability. Now, I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. I'm saying this, start thinking beyond your paycheck. Ask yourself, what could I create that serves others and earns income? What do I know that others are willing to pay to learn? What product, what service, what message do I have that can help people and help me earn? That's the seed of profit. And like any seed, it needs time, attention, and care. But once it grows beyond your wildest expectations. Let me give you some ways to start developing profit potential. Even if you're starting small, start a side hustle. Use your nights and weekends to test ideas, offer services, sell something valuable, create something once, sell it often, write a guide, make a template, build a course, design a tool, learn how to sell. Sales is not just for salespeople. It's a skill that unlocks income wherever you go. Build digital presence. Your ideas can reach the world now. Websites, social media, content. Use it. Partner with people. You don't have to do it alone. Find others who complement your strengths and grow something together. Remember, a little bit of profit is better than no profit at all. Because once you taste what it's like to earn without clocking in, you'll never look at money the same again. Let me close with this. Working for a wage is fine, but don't stop there. Don't settle. Don't think that's all there is. Because if you can work for a wage, then you can learn to earn a profit. And when you start creating value beyond your job, when you start building something that belongs to you, when you stop trading time and start trading impact, that's when freedom begins. And freedom, my friend, is worth far more than any paycheck. Let's keep going. Don't join an easy crowd. Grow into a better one. Here's a truth that changed my entire life, and I hope it changes yours. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the standards stretch you. Go where the conversation challenges you. That's not always comfortable, but it's the fastest way to become the person you were meant to be. Because here's what I've learned. We rise or fall to the level of the people we spend our time with. Most people want to feel accepted. They want to belong. They want to fit in. And so they find a crowd that makes them feel comfortable. A crowd that doesn't challenge them. A crowd that says, it's okay. Stay the same. Don't push. Don't stretch. Don't dream too big. And it feels good for a while. But eventually, you begin to shrink. Your vision fades. Your standards drop. You stop growing because the environment doesn't demand it. And that's the danger of an easy crowd. I'll never forget when my mentor said to me, "Jim, it's better to be around people who make you a little uncomfortable than people who keep you comfortable, but small." That statement woke me up, because I realized I had surrounded myself with people who didn't think big. They didn't talk about goals. They didn't plan for the future. They talked about the weather, the government, and what was on TV. Nothing wrong with that, unless you're trying to build a life of significance. So I made a hard decision. I started seeking out a different kind of crowd. Not one that made me feel better, but one that made me better. Let me tell you something simple and powerful. If you're always the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You should be around people who stretch your thinking. People who make you a little nervous to speak up, because they know more. People who challenge your excuses, question your limits, and inspire your growth. It might sting your ego at first, but that sting is called growth. Now I know, it's not easy. Leaving an easy crowd feels uncomfortable. You might feel out of place. You might feel judged. You might feel like you don't belong. But that's exactly the point, because the place where you don't yet belong is the place where you have the most to become. Growth is never convenient, but it is always worth it. So how do you find a better crowd? Start by looking for people with better habits. People who talk about ideas, not just people. People who are working on goals, reading books, asking questions, building things. They're not perfect, but they're progressing. And when you get around people like that, you catch it. You catch their momentum. You catch their energy. You catch their mindset. Because success is contagious. Let me give you a few practical questions to ask yourself. Who are the 5 people I spend the most time with? What do we talk about? Do they challenge me, or just agree with me? Are they pulling me forward, or keeping me still? If I become like them, am I becoming someone I'm proud of? Your answers will tell you everything you need to know. Let me be honest with you. Some relationships are good, but no longer growing. Some friendships are familiar, but no longer fruitful. And sometimes in order to grow, you have to go. Go to new events, join a new group, find a new mentor. It's not about disrespect, it's about direction. You can still love people, but that doesn't mean you have to learn from them. You can care for them, but that doesn't mean you copy them. Because your future is too important to be shaped by the wrong influences. Let me leave you with this. Don't look for the crowd that makes you feel comfortable. Look for the crowd that makes you feel called. Called to level up, called to think deeper, called to speak clearer, called to become more disciplined, more intentional, more focused. Find people who speak to your future, not your past. And when you do, when you surround yourself with a better crowd, you'll become the kind of person others want to follow. So don't join the easy crowd. Grow into the one that challenges you. Because if you want to live a better life, you've got to become a better you, and better people. Hang around better people. Let's move on. Don't just learn it, live it. Now we've reached the end of this journey. But I hope it's just the beginning of yours, because I didn't share these 5 lessons just to impress you. I shared them to move you, to challenge you, to ignite something inside you. Let me remind you what we've covered. First, value makes the difference, not time. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. Second, self-education will make you a fortune. If you want to grow your wealth, grow your wisdom first. Third, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Jobs can change your income, but personal growth will change your life. Fourth, profits are better than wages. Build something, own something, create value that keeps working, even when you're resting. And fifth, don't join an easy crowd. Grow into a better one. Surround yourself with people who stretch your standards, not shrink your potential. Now here's the part that matters most. Don't just learn it, live it. The world is full of smart people who know what to do, but never do what they know. They read books, they watch videos, they take notes, but they never act. They never move, they never become. And knowledge without action, that's just entertainment. But knowledge applied, that's transformation. So let this be your call to action. Pick one idea from this video, just one, and begin. Not next week, not tomorrow, today. Start small, but start with conviction. Make a change, take a step, stretch a little further than you did yesterday, because success is not built in a day. It's built in daily disciplines. And if you do that, if you take what you've learned and live it, then this won't just be a good video. It'll be a turning point. I'll leave you with this. You have more potential than you've ever used. You have more power than you've ever expressed. You have more future than you've ever imagined. But none of that matters unless you act on it. So go out and earn more by becoming more. Lead more by learning more. Serve more by growing more. And live more by stepping into the kind of person you were always meant to be. Because that's how fortunes are made. That's how lives are changed. And that's how you turn 5 lessons into a life you're proud of. This is Jim Rohn, reminding you, don't just wish for success. Make yourself worthy of it. Let's get to work.